we are looking at the picture of Newcomen engine. Here are the few parts like a head, boiler, cylinder, piston, counterweight, pump plunger, chain beam lever. All of the parts are important to make the engine work. As we are looking at the first part is the head. This is how actually is the steam created by the heat and boiling water. The steam is placed here in the boiler and it's moving to the cylinder. To move the piston up, it has to be collected enough amount of steam, which is creating the pressure to move the piston up. When the piston is moving down, the water which is placed here is cooling the cylinder. So counterweight is helping to move the chain beam lever down. Pump plunger is connected to the pump, which is pumping the water from the mine. So here on this animation you can see how does actually the Newcomen atmospheric engine work. What is very interesting we haven't seen on the previous picture is here the pump, which is pumping the water up, and so we never run out of the water, which is actually necessary to get the piston cooled, so it will also move down. So here we are looking at the Watts engine, and as you can see, maybe it looks almost the same as Newcomen atmospheric engine. The only difference is that we are having fresh steam, which is also moving down on the bottom of the piston, and it's pushing the piston from the up and from the down. And it's quite simple. When the piston is down, the valve here is opening, and the steam is going all the way through here, and it's going down, and it's pushing up again. So its efficiency is twice higher because we are losing less energy by pushing the piston not only from the one side as the Newcomen atmospheric engine, but we are doing it from both sides, up and down.
The assembly line started 100 years ago, revolutionizing manufacturing and society by cutting the time and cost it took to build the Ford Model T. The assembly made it possible to bring the automobile to the masses. A century ago, on October 7, 1913, engineers built a rudimentary system using a rope and winch to pull a new Ford Model T past 140 workers. By drastically reducing the cost of production with standardized parts and more efficient assembly, Ford was able to bring the luxury, convenience and freedom of the automobile to the masses. Other industries soon adopted the innovation, and today, everything from cereal to caskets is made on assembly lines, if not by robots. Most critically, the assembly line cut the amount of time it took to assemble a Model T from 12.5 hours to just 93 minutes. Higher productivity means more profit, some of which is often returned to workers through higher wages. Workers then have more money to buy products, creating what is called a virtuous cycle of growth. The assembly line also changed the way people worked and lived, accelerating the shift from rural areas to cities, and increasing the number of people doing repetitive, low-skilled jobs. While piecework was a time-honored tradition, and the moving assembly line had already transformed the meatpacking industry in Chicago and Cincinnati, it was Ford who found a way to make it work for complex manufacturing. Henry Ford said, "If I could save every one of my workers 50 steps a day, then I could save miles by the end of the year." Trains filled with parts rolled down the main bay of the Crystal Palace, where cranes slid through the sunlight pouring in from a glass ceiling and lifted the parts up to balconies. Conveyor belts and gravity wells carried parts to workers as cars were pulled from floor to floor. When he first started, he made about 100 cars a day, and it got up to 1,000, which is almost the same as a modern factory in 1914. Ford's 13,000 workers built around 300,000 cars, more than his nearly 300 competitors managed to build with 66,350 employees. The specialization of the assembly line meant that Ford no longer had to use craftsmen and could instead hire low-skill workers and teach them a few simple steps. The $5 day was eventually followed by the 5-day work week, which meant Ford workers had both the money to buy his cars and the leisure time to use them, despite the higher labor costs. Ford's efficiencies allowed him to eventually lower the price of the Model T from its introduction price of $850 to $260. Technological innovations like automation and just-in-time delivery have brought further efficiencies. Today, just 500 people work directly on the assembly line at Ford's Michigan assembly plant, which now builds 605 Focus and C-Max sedans in each of two 10-hour shifts. Some 48,000 people worked at the Crystal Palace at its peak. The flexible line builds 5 different models, a high-performance, a hybrid and a standard Focus, plus the hybrid and plug-in hybrid C-Max, with a range of colors and features, including a hatchback option. A complex computer system tracks each vehicle as it makes its way down the line, matching engines to bodies and letting workers know when it's time to swap parts or press a different badge onto the frame.